Alright, and I have started recording for YouTube, so hi YouTube. This is gonna be a long VOD, probably. Let's go fish, indeed. Yeah, so, like this description says, this is BandLab and Spitfire Labs, the song. There's a lot of stuff in this song that I kinda didn't make, because of, like, using samples and whatnot. I mean, okay, I still made the song, but, like, there are a lot of samples. So this is Wormfish. It is actually not that complicated. This is my simplest SJ song, and you can tell by like listening to it. So, where do I begin? I guess at the beginning. I don't really have a plan here for any of this. I'm just gonna do whatever. Did I do the F mods? So I did the F mods for Wormfish, which is a very complicated F mod. I probably should actually go over that after the FLPs. I did it for Jaded, and I did not do it for Shadowdrop. The Grenade did it for that one. Alright. So we've got a few layers to start out with. Immediately, you can actually see that the pattern for the main bass, which is this, is already going. Like, you can't hear it, but it's there. If I solo it, you can barely hear it. Because it starts off... First of all, there's a ton of effects on this. But it starts off really, really high-passed. Right here. It's just barely there. But it gets modulated in. Via this. There we go, we have the main bass. The main bass is complicated. I will talk about that in a minute. First I want to go over what's in the intro here. Let's see. So we got a few pads in the background here. Just a few things to fill out the space and make it ambient and stuff. I'm not really good at ambient stuff, but I think I did a good job for this intro, maybe? So, there's going to be a really interesting thing you'll notice right here. So the song is in G sharp, and we have this tone in G sharp, which is what is it? This is a SAR. Oh no, sorry, this is a Sakura. There's a lot of SAR in the song as well, but this is a Sakura, which is a synth that is built into FL, and it's like a string simulation thing. And this preset is one I made, which means I probably just hit randomize until something sounded good and then I saved it. But it sounds like this. And then it gets modulated down. Oops. So it has its own like little melody in the background there. I think one of these intro tones is intentionally out of tune. Let's see if I thought it was this one, but I'm not so sure. Because it's definitely in tune here. So maybe this is the one that's in tune. In the background here we have this. Okay, Atlantis, I think it's this one. Okay. We have this like guitar soundscape thing. It's really quiet. Hopefully you can hear it. If you need me to turn up the volume, let me know. This is the first BandLabs sound. So, BandLabs being a thing that makes samples, company that makes samples, I'm not sure. So there's this. It's really like harshly cut off. Like if I open this, you can see right here it just gets hard cut in the high end, but it's fine, you don't really notice. And then it just plays twice. What else? There's also this really distinctive sound. This, what is it? Yeah, ARP bird call is what I have it. You'll notice that sound is in Jaded as well. I'll point it out too. It's literally the same synth, but Yeah, we'll get to that. So this art bird call is a SAR. SAR being a synth that's in FL that is like slightly broken but intentionally. So I have a lot of plugins that are literally just the same thing as I said with Secure earlier. They're randomized until they sounded good. I'm not entirely sure if this sound is like in key or not. I think it is. Like it's being played in key. And it's roughly correct, I think, but I think it's cool. So that's all the intro. It's pretty simple. But then a little bit more starts to come in. So obviously there's this lead here, but I'll talk about that lead in a minute. Let me first talk about... What is this? Oh, this is the guitar thing. Atlantis pad, here's what it is. This sound right here. You hear it sliding up. A semitone. Wow, wow. That is the one that is intentionally out of tune. So, where is it? Yeah, so this is just a Harmer preset. I think this is literally just a pad preset or something like that. Why exactly? I don't think I modified it, but there's a... But I modulated Mod X. What does Mod X link to? Pitch probably? Yeah. So it starts off... What is this? Yeah, about 100 cents down, which is a major 7th in a minor song. Or 7th? No, not 7th. Yeah, it is 7th, I think. So it's intentionally out of tune because I thought it sounded cool. All right, so then we have... That brings us to this lead right here. Ostensibly, this is a theremin. As you can tell by it being labeled theremin. That's what I wanted to do with this. I was like, I wanted to be inspired by, you know, like Resort, and use a theremin. So it's a so I think I just searched my computer for theremin and tried various things until I found this. Here's what it sounds like completely dry, no effects. So not that different, actually. It doesn't really sound like a theremin. There are some higher harmonics in there, but it's close enough. It has that slide built in. It's a really simple sound. You could do this in any synth, but this is just what I found and it worked. And there's that built-in legato, so you can tell that it's like stuff is hitting early. That's where the slide is coming from. So I'm not actually using slide notes. And then there's some processing on it. Specifically, there's this capacitor too. And I'm modulating non-linearity. This is just distortion. This is a plugin. This is an Air Windows plugin, and when I was making Wormfish, I had just discovered Air Windows. Bunch of free plugins. So yeah. So it's the higher this knob is, the more distortion's happening. And you can really hear it at the end here. That like crunchiness there. Yeah. That's about it. Oh, there's also like a tape sim on it. Okay, so now we're getting close to the drop. Nice. Let's just go top down. So first we had these drums. It's literally just sample drums. I did not program the drums for this song. Sorry. The drums are like a key feature of the song, and they're just sampled. So this is Melodic Metal Drums 04 from BandLab as well, with some processing on it. For when it's stretched, you can tell it's stretched because it sounds terrible. You hear that like weird like phasiness in the high end because of the stretching. But with processing, it sounds crunchy. It sounds crunchy because I have this plugin on it, MBitFun. This is a free plugin that I'm not really sure how this plugin works. It has these presets. I don't understand it, but it does some like bit math in like ands and replace. Oh, I think it is just a replace. It's basically a bit crushed but fancier at 40% wet. Yeah. I don't know. It sounded. I wanted it to sound like crunchy, I think, because of that stretchiness, and that helped. There's also this violent phaser plugin, which is where this sound is coming from. You'll notice it sounds different every time I hit it, and when I render the song, it sounds different each time. So I think the album, if I remember correctly, the album mix and the in-game mix were rendered separately, so the phaser is in a different position initially. So then I just modulate the wet dry down. I think I also, yeah, I also bring down a high pass just to make the low end kind of come in. There's this little drum for the drop right here. Sure. It's supposed to be like an 80s drum, I think. 80s tom. We have a cymbal. Where even is that cymbal? Here it is. Reverse crash. I should have high-passed it, but I will. Yep, it's a band lab. And that leads us to our bass. This is the core of this song. This was like one of the first things that was done. You can tell it's the second mixer insert, which means it's the second thing I did. There's a lot going on in this bass, but you ready for how it sounds completely dry? It's so silly. Yeah. So let me actually break down this bass in detail. So it is a SAR, if I'm pronouncing that right. Who knows? I don't remember. I think this may have been a randomized one, or like I know it's subtronic. So this is a preset. It's just a preset. I don't know how to work this plugin, unfortunately. It's probably not that complicated, but I just haven't learned it. But the effects are what's really doing the work here, as well as this riff. But yeah, this riff is just octave, slide up, some slides. It's mostly just this octave with some slides for the first part of this song. So, effects. Let's go one by one. Disable everything. It's first a range bastard. This is like half an amp thing. Then there's a Valhalla frequency echo. You can tell like it adds some extra harmonics that are not really related to the sound. And I have the shift amount frequency being modulated. So you can hear it coming up there. EQ, not really doing anything at this point. And then Ignite Emissary, which is an amp sim. I have a lot of amp sims. This is just the one I went with for this. So pretty heavily distorted. Not that heavily, but kind of heavily. Maximus to control it a little bit, I guess. Yeah, high. Compressing the high end a little bit. That's about it. Valhalla's supermassive. This is a reverb. Well, no, sorry. This is doing a sort of blurred delay kind of thing. Another EQ. Just a high pass it. Oh, there's a high pass. So the reason this is a high pass bass is because there's a separate sub underneath it. And then this one. This is really important. Dear VR Micro. This is a HRTF plugin. HRTF stands for Head Related Transfer Function. See HRTF right there? This is what's making the sound pan around you in a circle. Because otherwise, I could just like pan left and then pan right. But this is more... This sounds cooler. It really works with headphones. If you're just listening on speakers, it doesn't really work. So, that's the main bass. And then I did a few riffs. First is this really basic riff. And then we have this more complicated one later. With all sorts of slides everywhere. Boom. I forgot about that little vibrato, manual vibrato. So, that's that. So, more stuff. Dong. So, yeah, the painting is complicated. So, this spring that sounds like a bell was how I copied Hot Fish. So, the song's called Wormfish. It's a copy... It was originally intended to be basically a ripoff of Hot Fish from Spring Collab by the girl. And it was a failed copy, but that's okay. Actually, that's for the best. And instead of using an actual bell or gong sound, I have this, like, bell. No, I have this spring. That's what I meant to say. I don't know. It works, I think. It's really, like, really harmonically complicated, really dark sound. And it didn't have a lot of low end, so I have this synth providing some low end. Just to fill out the mix a little bit better. And then I have this Atlantis pad continuing. This is in the background of a lot of the song. And it becomes used for chords later too. There's some sliding going on here. Okay, we haven't even gotten there. Let me not skip ahead too much. Oh, there's like one thing left. What's this? Oh, this is Tappy Tone, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So this is this. You don't really hear that in the song too much. The tappiness of it, you just kind of hear a tone. But it's in key. So it's the same thing, but an octave down. That's what it is. This is also a SAR that I just randomized to get. So yeah, that tone and also the art bird call thing constantly show up in this song. Where is it? Here it is. They're just all in the background everywhere, as you can tell. All the way through the song. Just occasionally. There's also this other guitar soundscape cave. Just to add some more ambiance. So this bell thing comes back occasionally. I have the reversed sound going into it. Just add some more lead in. Sometimes I have it early. Just to add some anticipation and variation. Obviously here for the first drop it hits early. Like actually early. And yeah, and it's just all throughout the song and doesn't really change. It's not in the outro though, not in Escape. What's this? This is a ride. You can barely hear it in the song, just there. So then as the main bass kind of wraps around over, like, what is this, 8 bars, it gets brighter. How? Well, it becomes 2 guitars. Well, okay, it goes from 0 guitars to 0, but an extra one does get added and then routed in. So let me explain. So the main bass is still going on right here. But then this gets added, which sounds like this. This is a really old attempt at a fake guitar that I did. Here, here's what it sounds like actually dry. Yeah, exactly. With some mixing and other stuff, it could sound real. Definitely real human guitar. This is a patcher, as you do. Can I make this like zoom correctly? No, I guess I can't. Yeah, a couple harmers. I don't really know what's going on here. Distortion, another range bastard. This is a convolver doing a cabinet. Really aggressive, or pretty aggressive wave shaping. So yeah, it's a guitar thing that doesn't really sound good, but if I route it through the processing of the main bass, and then also layer it with the main bass, it sounds different. Does it sound better? Does it sound worse? I don't know, but it's different. Some variation. This is such a repetitive song that needs a lot of variation in terms of stuff like that. So then I fade it out. Bow, bow, bow. This is an actual real guitar. What? Hold on. Isolate you. That sounds so terrible on its own. But yeah, this is just a way of getting more real guitar in there. Or any. Boom, boom, boom. So now we go into this kind of chord section. We get a different drum pattern. The bass kind of does a tail thing. I don't know why. I don't know why I had the sub do this, even though the actual bass is still continuing. But then we get some chords. I have no idea what's going on with these chords either. I have no idea what you'd call them. Yeah, fat chord. This is a technical term. This is very loosely based off of the harmonics in the spring sound, in the gong. I just like looked at them in a spectrogram, and wherever I saw a loud harmonic, I put down a note. And there's this one as well, which is like the main body of it. Same chords. And it also introduces a progression that is throughout the entire song, or most of the song, which is this G sharp to F sharp thing. So the root down to the minor seventh. Back and forth. The whole song does this, or most of the song. And this is where you first hear it, I believe. So we get this bass, right, doing the same pattern, but then it slides down to be in F sharp. It's not actually a key change. This is just like half a key change. It's down here, but it's still in G minor. Right? G minor. But also F sharp. I don't know. It's just a way of, again, taking a repetitive thing and changing it just a little bit so it's not actually repetitive. At least in theory. Oh, there's also another background. Oh wait, I already played this. No, I didn't. Did I? I don't know. Just some more ambience. Then the chords loop. And then there's this funny sound in the background that you cannot tell, but is definitely there. How does that sound like without effects?
We're all going to die.
That is actually in the song, in-game, everything. On the album, whatever. Yes. So there's a few, I really don't know why I added this, but there's a few things that give it the sound. For one, I'm using E2 mono stretching, which is like the worst one, but it adds a particular texture.
We're all going to die.
So that's what it would sound like normally, but with E2 mono it gets crunchy.
We're all going to die.
This is Chris from the Technical Difficulties. No, I did not record this. This is from an episode of... I forget what it was. It was when they were in the kitchen. But anyway, and then there's some processing. There's this crazy plugin, which...
We're all going to die.
This is a pitch down preset.
We're all...
Basically just a really low-tech formant shift. M-Auto Pitch, which is actually bringing the formants down by an octave. This is an auto-tune plugin that I have the auto-tune disabled, but I'm doing a formant shift to bring it down an octave. And then I have an average, which is another Air Windows plugin. This one, it's effectively a low-tech low-pass. It's really subtle, but in Jaded, there's a sound that uses it pretty heavily, and I'll point that out. And then some delay and EQ. Really, really subtle. Basically an Easter egg for myself. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. So now we're into this section of the song. We get a little break here, breaking away from... We take a measure to have some variation. And a little bit of lead in the bass. The pattern it's playing here is the same as this. Or something. It's actually this. Which, this works in the album, but if you're in-game and you transition right here from one sector, like the intro, to one of the sectors, this will be weird because it gets cut off. It leads into something and then goes to a completely different thing. But too bad. There's also an early gong hit here. And then we get some slidiness. Here it is. Just to add some different ambience in the background, but still using the same instruments. And then there's this counter slide thing. On some other thing. Yeah, on this sound. So this is going down while this is... Yeah, this slides down, and then this slides up. So you get this, like, cross-sliding thing happening in the background, and it sounds cool, I think. And then they reverse direction here. So this one's going down and this one's going up. Just to add some more pitch weirdness in the background, while still keeping the same elements. So this lead is titled Collapse Lead, which leads me to believe it is the Speed the Collapse. Yes, it is. So I took Infinitely Rising, yeah, kinda. You can actually do that in Vital, just built in. I forget what it's called. It leads me to believe. So this is Harmer. I have resynthesized a sound. I've used the guitar intro from a song called Speed the Collapse. So I just took that guitar, and I'm basically playing it myself. going back and forth over this sample in a ping pong fashion. Actually, this is the mono. Or the mid. And that's pretty much it. I guess there's probably some effect. Yeah, there's like reverb. And that's about it. So yeah, I find that fun. There's also, I should probably point out, where is it? Where did I put it? Surely it's in this project file somewhere. This project file does not have the thing I'm trying to talk about. Okay, so I used this sound for another thing in the song that you can only hear in-game, you cannot hear in the album mix. There's kind of like, in the intro loop, so the intro loops, you know, for as long as you're in the first bit of the map. And every other loop, and only on the second loop, like when you load into the map, there's an extra layer that gets played. And actually, let me just like find that layer. Wormfish start layer, yeah. It sounds pretty terrible on its own, but if you play the map, you'll hear it and it'll sound good in context. Same stuff as before. We get this layer again with the other guitar, other fake guitar. Chords again. Except this time we go back. So we go back to the original bass line, but then we bring the theremin back. So same elements as before, nothing new. Oh, there's also, what is this? Oh yeah, there's this like tiny hat. It's literally called Tiny Hat. I'm consistent. Yeah, it does. It's a very melodically complex. Yeah, so you just like cannot hear this in the song. I'm not even sure why I added it, but it's here. Tiny Hat. All this complicated chord, the theremin. Yeah, so it is melodically complex. But this song is like, has a lot going on pitch-wise anyway. So then the song goes to do this transition, and then just stops. I wonder why. Well, because that's the end of the intro. Then we have our 3 sectors. I'm assuming you've played the map if I'm describing all this. These little labels right here, Cycles, Evade, and Crossroads, are just wrong. They are, well, they were right at the time, but they are definitely outdated. For one, the Cycles sector no longer exists. That was cut in favor of a move block sector. And also these got rearranged, but yeah, Cross and Evade still exist. Although this became the red sector move. This became Evade, the blue sector. And this became the green sector, which is Crossroads. So, what's going on here? So, we lose the main bass. We still have the sub here. Boom. Boom. Yeah, it's definitely the one with the most notes. Well, actually, that's not true. It might be. It has a lot of notes. So, the main element here, obviously, is this piano. Boom, ba-dum, 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 ba. So, swung arp, first of all. So it's arpeggiating, obviously, but it's swung just a little bit, each of these, manually. Let's see how by how much. A quarter step, alright. And then it's playing, I don't know, whatever chords. I think this is the same, this might be the same chords as here, maybe, I'm not sure. The reason I did a swing rhythm is because this was originally supposed to be like the troll section to a degree. So it was intentionally meant to be silly. We ended up making it not as silly, a bit more serious, but I still like the sound. So this is actually 2 pianos. It's really hard to tell when you're listening to the whole song, but it's 2 pianos. So this first one is a Flex Essential Piano's Westworld. I've never watched Westworld. I don't know if it's inspired by that in any way. It's really silly sounding. It's got that really loud, like, high mid. Really prominent high mids. As well, I'm EQing it to boost it. There's also a triple spread, I guess, giving some wideness. How does it sound dry? It's like fully mono. Dry. I mean, it pans left and right, but it's otherwise mono. There's also this Proto reverb. This is a very interesting reverb plugin. Not one I'd recommend for like normal use, but I really like the way this Vapor Excursion preset sounds on pianos. And just melodic stuff in general. Here's what it sounds like with and without it. So, that's that piano. This one also has a Vapor Excursion. This is a much more normal piano. I'm not sure which of these I chose. Like, okay, Studio Grand, I guess is what it is. This is a free or the demo version of a piano sampler. It doesn't give you all the keys, so if you go too low, it just like... You can only go to like, yeah, here. And all the way up to... Yeah, C. But that's enough for the song. Oh, so it's actually like 2 things here as well. So there's the main ARP, but they all have this like... this under it. Although I guess it's not playing here. I don't know why. I don't know why I can't hear it. Oh, because I have the wrong thing selected. Just add some weight in the background. Both pianos have this. So they go back and forth between G sharp and F sharp, like I mentioned earlier. It's kind of the core of the song, melodically. Same thing here. And then we have this transition. Oh yeah, also the swing gets like... There's no swing here. Just to have it play through straight. That is not the straight section. Here's the straight section. Just some variation. Album version is not that different. I would say the main things... Album version does not have the thing in the intro that I mentioned, every other loop. It has a more direct transition between the sectors and the escape bit. In-game, there's that like top area transition, but it just goes straight from the sectors to escape in the album. There's also a difference in the right here in the outro, and I'll point that out when I get to it. So that is the... I think that's... Oh yeah. That's the first half of this bit explained. So then we transition into the recreated melodies on the piano. A little bit of a transition melody, because I felt like it. There's also this tom fill. This really silly tom fill. Synth tom. Inspired by like Tim Riegel and 80s music and stuff. It's really quiet, because it sounds kind of terrible, but I don't know, it's there. Oh, I also have this hat. This hat being pitched around. So then we go into this section. So this is a recreation of the intro bass line, but without slides, obviously. hear how that's the same thing? Same thing for this. This is... Dun, dun, dun. Which is the same thing as... Where'd it go? This. Just to add some cohesiveness. It's got the slides in the background. What's going on here? Okay, same pad things before. It also slides around a little bit. Yeah, there's another instance of those melodies being repeated later. Bring the chords back in. Oh, actually, I haven't talked about that yet. What is this? Or 9. This is a... Oh, okay, this is this. So this is the thing from the intro coming back at this point. Oh, actually, it was here too. But, like, sliding around. And it resolves. So yeah, that's throughout the song as well. Yeah, then we get these chords, which are throughout the sectors. So it's interesting here, when it changes from this chord to this one, it sounds really similar, especially in the full mix, because of this identical top line in F sharp, but it has actually changed quite a bit. Changes chord quality, I think is the term. I'm really not good at chords. We'll get to that. So that's that. It is a harmor, I believe. Let's see if I can find it. Yep. It's a harmor doing some sort of synthesis. I have no idea what this is. Really harmonized here for that extra octave sound. Without that, it sounds like this. Let's leave that on. There's also some harmonic gliding here. Portamento per note, which is where that slide's coming from. I think it is anyway. Yeah, it is. I think there's also... Okay, whatever. That's basic. It's not that complicated of a sound. So that's pretty much that sector. Do another tom fill. Okay, so that's that. Then we have this sector. This is the red sector, move blocks. And we get this new main bass line. "40 hours. According to this. This is not very accurate. This is just how long I had. I don't know how this is calculated, actually. But this one song was up to 40 hours, probably less. So yeah, that's the riff. You'll notice here there's a triplet. Bum 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 bum. That triplet's interesting because where it plays, the drums do almost a triplet, but not quite. So you see the main bass is right here, but the drums are like here. And it's more obvious here, more disconnected. So if I play that... It sounds loose. It sounds more human. Even though it's clearly just like locked grids. I'm not really good at humanizing things, to be honest. Oh yeah, also, I forgot to mention this, but occasionally the phaser on the drums come back in for a little bit. Into drops, or into, like, sections. Or was I here? We have the same thing here again with this fake guitar. It's lagging. This is the same stuff. This hat's doing stuff. This ride. Real drums don't do that, but you know what? It sounds cool. I think I also did something pretty similar in Boilerplate. Yeah, so nothing complicated. You just get this riff, and then occasionally it gets this. I don't know what the difference... Oh, yeah, the chords are also here. So, the thing that makes this loop in an interesting way, because otherwise this would just be this over and over, like constantly. So the thing that breaks it up is these chords, which come in the middle, and then this like a higher guitar sound, which comes in every other set of 4 bars. Or 8. There's also this sound, which I forgot to mention. Let's listen to this. What's this? Well, that's actually pretty loud, isn't it? Yeah, you can barely hear this in the song, but it's there. It does sound cool. Oh god, my CPU. There's too much going on. These chords are like really hard. Because it's a lot of voices. It's each of these notes is 9 voices, and it's resynthesis and all that. So the chords are really laggy. But yeah, this is the same Speed the Collapse lead as before. Just adding some more weight. Yep. Just to add some more power to an otherwise fairly empty sounding sector. Because like this is the emptiest sounding the song gets right here. Well, that's not true actually. There's the intro and then the outro, but yeah. So I think that covers pretty much everything in this sector. Then we have this last sector, which is the slidey sector. This is blue, evade. Again, ignore these labels here. My idea for this sector was take literally every element, as you can tell by this extremely high quality color coordination and labeling. Just kidding, there's none. Take every element and slide it. Except that element. Almost every element and slide it. And then take all these slides and offset them from each other. Have them start at different times. So it becomes this really washed out, non-tonally coherent thing. And there's also this in the background to kind of glue it all together. Where is it? It's a little unsettling yet. Ooh, which is this? Just holding down that G sharp. Except there. Then it just loops. So yeah, that's another BandLab sound. Chords come back in, same chords. Oh, what else is there? Oh yeah, then there's... What's going on here? I actually don't know. Oh yeah, this is the bass line. It's stupid. It's really... I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It should be just normal, but it isn't. Then we have this bit. So G sharp slides, still G minor, G sharp minor. And then we do F sharp slides, except it's still in G sharp minor. I had a musician, Wendell Tibbs specifically, in SJ, think this was chromatic. It's not. It's just slides. And of course, it's still spinning around you and whatnot. And that's literally all that is. And then we go into the outro, the escape sequence. I've been live for an hour and I've only talked about one song. This is going to be a long stream. So you'll notice the label on this one is 7/4 because the song is in... Okay, it's actually probably in 7/8, but close enough. Who cares? So, listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Yep. 7, 1. Yeah, so it's not in 4/4. And I did that just to make the outro, or like the escape sequence, seem kind of a bit unsettling in a different way. Just like, I don't know. Just like, it feels like everything's falling apart. And I did just take a normal 4/4 drum loop and chop it up. So that's why you hear this crash, like, constantly. There's a little bit of a fill here, though. Just to add some variation. Don't worry about that. So we have the one gong hit. And then none for the rest of the song. Then we have this high layer, which is... I don't know if you can hear that on the stream, it's really quiet. No, most of the song is 4/4, but in the escape we switched to 7/4, or 7/8, or whichever. So these high pings, you may recognize if you know, like, Katizer lore. I use these in the intro song thing that I did for the Winter Collab Test Showcase. In that, like, remix of the Gym song, I use these. And so I just reuse them for Wormfish. So it's two sounds. This like lower one and this higher one. And it's each hit is randomized for both of those. So there's 5 options for this one and more for this one. So each hit is like doubly randomized. Just add some variation. It's really subtle though. Then we have this sound, which is the Ghost Pad, which is a Spitfire Labs sample. Specifically, this is Ghost of the Harbor in the Tundra Atmos pack. This is all free. This really is like, this sound is the core of Escape. So it's doing G sharp, and then F sharp, and then G sharp, back and forth. And then it changes here, but I'll get to that when I get to that. Then we have these chords, these choir chords. The same complicated chords as in the intro. Just looping. Although there is some variation here. This choir is another Spitfire Labs choir along. Then we go into this. Ignore this. This is literally just the way I should not have done this. This is these Funimation clips, but all in one instead of made unique. Bum ba-dum ba-dum. So what this is another Spitfire Labs sound. Heel guitar ensemble on that word. You'll notice this is the same melody as the intro bass line, but in 4/4. And there's these slides going on here too. You can't actually do slides in Spitfire Labs. So I'm sliding around, I believe... How did I do this? I don't remember how I did this. But somehow I'm doing this slide manually, which slides the whole tone around, including the previous notes. I should not have done it this way. This is really jank. There's some effects on it. Specifically, well, here's what it sounds like dry. But there's a couple interesting things going on here. This is the auto-tune plugin again, except I have stereo width on the formant shift, which makes it really wide, and then I'm automating the formant shift as well over time. Just a little bit. Up and down, just to add some variation. So that's that. And then it loops here, and then there's a break here. And this is the other melody. This is this. No, wait, no, that's not. Sorry, I'm wrong. This is the other one, wherever it is. Where are you still here? So again, this is a way of tying the whole song together, making the escape kind of like a celebration to a degree of, or whatever word for the sectors. And then we have this last one. Well, first of all, in this break, something very interesting happens here. Melodically. We go from, oh well, okay, first of all, the whole section, escape section, has been going back and forth between A sharp and G sharp instead of, so instead of this, like the rest of the song, it's doing this, just to basically keep the same idea, but bring it up a notch, kinda. But then here, I bring a bit more melody into it. Just to make it different. So it's looping this 3 group section over and over. 1, 2, 3. And the chords start coming up as well. And there's one last interesting thing I did in this song. For this ghost pad thing, there's this EQ with a really loud peak here. And just to make that, here's what it sounds like without that. Just to make it come out in the mix a lot more. But watch when it changes notes. It automatically slides up to account for that, and down and whatnot. It slides around to account for that. And the way I did that is I have the entire melody on this bit duplicated, or say this bit, duplicated in this keyboard tracker, and I have the output of that linked to the frequency knob on the CQ with this offset here. So that's how I am manually adjusting the frequency of that peak filter. So that's a trick to, like, make a, I don't know. It sounded good. I don't know the specific terminology, but it sounded good. So this melody on the pill guitar is the one from earlier here, is this one. But again, 7/4 and with different slides. And then, plugins. So, Mika, you asked earlier what the differences are between the in-game version and the album version. This is one of those differences. In-game, this is this. It doesn't resolve because of the loop. And I did some stuff to account for that. But for the album, I wanted it to resolve. In-game, though, you do get a resolution to the root, but only when you enter the heart room. Just to kind of delay that feeling. I think this is... Oh yeah, here's the sound. It is here. Alright. That's Wormfish. It only took an hour and 7 minutes. Anyone have any questions? Anything you want me to look at again, or whatever? Probably not. Alright, nobody's saying anything, so I'm going to go into Jaded. So, of course. So, Jaded, okay, so Wormfish is the song I started first for SJ. However, it's the song I finished second. In between there, I did Kabob Psytrance, also known as Jaded. PsyCabob. This song took a few months in 2021. Yeah. It's very complicated. And because it's complicated, it's about as long and it's a lot more complicated, so I'm going to try to make this take a little bit less time. So the request for this song from Kabob was I forget the exact phrasing he used, but it was like cyber mushroom forest, I think is what it was, something like that. And then try to get a nice psytrance beat. So I made a nice psytrance beat, subjectively. This song is also a bit complicated. Has it loaded yet? Okay, can you go away? Thank you. This song is a lot more complicated than Wormfish. I cannot go as in-depth. I'll try not to anyway. But there's a lot going on here, a lot of notes, a lot of sounds, a lot more sound design in this song as opposed to Wormfish. So, let's begin at the beginning. Oh, also, this is going to sound wrong at first. Okay, now here's what this is actually supposed to sound like. I don't know why that first hit's always just wrong. Alright. So the first thing you hear is this bass. Which, where even is this bass? Is it this? Probably is. Yeah, it is. The shroom bass. This is a Vital. The sound design I did myself. The wavetable is a mushroom sound from a game. I'm not gonna say what it is, so lots of effects going on in here, like actual Vital effects. Bit of macro stuff going on, wavetable position, performance scale. The 4-minute scale thing is what's making the sliding sound, while still keeping the pitch the same. So that's there. It's also throughout the song. Like in the drop. Oh my god, my CPU. Alright, so then we have this main song. Main sound. The pluck lead. Bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum bum. Yep. This is a harmor with sound design I did myself. This sounds like a sampled thing, but it literally just is not. Here's what it sounds like dry. Now you can tell it's a synth. It sounds very harmor too. And you'll notice, like, at this part, there's a bit of texture to it because I have a random amount of pre-delay up to however much. So they sound out of sync with each other in a random way, even though they aren't. Okay, let's actually turn those effects back on so this sounds good. There's the melody. Yep, not complicated. This was like the first thing I did for the song, I think. Even before like the bass stuff. I'm not going to go into too much about the effects on that, other than this. These are giving it a lot of texture, these delays and reverb. Well, that's not doing much. There's a lot of other stuff going on in this intro, though. So we have... Let's just go in order. Yeah, whatever this is. Oh, we have... Yeah, this is the... This is a Scanners Spitfire Labs thing. It is... It sounds like chords, but it's actually... It's actually just the melody again, but like half speed. You hear it too. The polyphony. Then whatever the sound is, let's see. I think this might be Scanners as well. Yeah, it is. It's literally just a different layer of the same thing, but doing a different pattern. What's this? 13... 16... Oh, yeah. The Akira sound. So, this sound is driving a lot of, like, the ambiance in this song. This is a harmor as well, although it's a resynthesis. And there's a lot of randomness going on each time. Yeah, every time it starts, it has a random prism. Okay, that's pretty much it. I swear there was some other randomness going on here. I don't remember what it was. I thought it was something. But each hit is randomized. We have this impact. Just because impacts are cool. And these glitch sounds. Which is just a sample. Just a long sample that I did not make. For ghost sounds. There's some other sounds in the background of this, too. Intro. These three. Oh, one of these is the glitches. Yeah. You really can't tell. Maybe they're too quiet. But these are the same as the pluck lead, pluck melody. But, yeah. Doing some other stuff. So this sound, I believe, is based on battling jumps. And this is... I don't even know what. Oh, literally just like glitches. Okay. Just to add some more, like, digitalness to the background of the song. So all that is the intro. Oh my god, my poor CPU. And you also notice this progression is... The song is in C sharp. So this is the root, minor sixth, fourth, and fifth. This progression is like the whole song. These four notes are the vast majority of Jaded. At a core level. So then we get the second half of the melody, which brings in this really unisoned sub. I intentionally made it unison to kind of feel warbly, I guess. And as well, there's this pluck, which sounds really terrible on its own. This is a harmor as well. It's really quiet here. Yeah, prism stuff, whatever. Oh, also, regarding this pluck, I should mention that there's some variation that happens in it. Because it's literally just this melody for this long. So to break it up a little bit, to make it not as repetitive, there's some automation going on. So first of all, it kind of opens up. It starts like low pass a little bit. I don't really remember how I did that. But it's somewhere. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's a back symbol. Alright, this is a... So this is just taking the high end down 15 dB. And then bringing it back up. So the initial hit's not as loud. I'm going into too much detail. Okay, last thing. This pluck has a phaser mix. And the phaser's not actually doing phasing. It is doing. It's set to be really fast, and it's set to frequency. And then you can see it's actually really fast here. So it's kind of like FM, but not real FM. And to make it more accurate, I also have this grain set to as low as it'll go for more precision. So, yeah, some FM there, but not real. What's this? Oh, glitches. More digital stuff in the background. Can't even really hear it, but it's there. Alright. Then we have the draw. Bow, bow. Oh, kindly shut up. You were not supposed to be here yet. I have... Okay, this is like the in-game mix. So first we have this riser. Where even is it? Where are you, riser? Yeah, this. How even was this sound made? This sounds like a harmer. Or a vital. 10. Oh, it's a serum. Or a citrus. I do not have serum. Some FM. I don't know. Whatever. I think this was like the first thing I made for this song, actually. This like riser. Then we have some drums. That sounds really weird if you cut it off like that. Nice. So there's a really interesting thing going on here with the snare. It's got it's this weird tail on it. Why does it sound like some machinery is being triggered by the snare? Well, that's because it is. This is a convolver. Normally you'd put an impulse reverb tail here, but you can put literally anything. This snare is triggering when to sample Pat Kitchen Fan off. Sometimes. It's in a patcher, so I can turn it off sometimes. But actually this is... I think other drums can go in here too. Just, I don't know. Just cause. I was messing with it and it sounded cool. There's this bass that comes in. Can I please right click this? Which is throughout the whole song. The pluck melody has a different ending there. And yeah. And then we get the psytrance section. This is intentionally really simple. So when I started this song, I don't really know how to make psytrance. I've done it once before, but I never released it and it's not good. I don't know how to make psytrance. So I just searched my computer for psytrance, and the kick... Oh, sorry. Okay. The kick, yeah, here, is a serum preset that I did not make. The kick is a serum, it's not sampled. It's so funny. It's a citrus, I mean, not serum. So synth kick. Wait, I think a little bit of randomness on it too? Yeah. Somewhere. Random, something or other somewhere. I don't know. Okay, good night. So there's a kick, which is just sampled, and then we have this bass, which is also just Not sampled either. Well, you better hope it's not, but yeah. It's very simple. It's like just a saw wave. Actually, two saw waves. Two saw waves, or one slightly not a saw. Some volume automation on it. That's like it. The sound is really dead simple. A little bit of processing on it. A little bit of like bit crush. A little bit of EQ. You'll notice linear phase EQ because the sound is really sensitive to phase change. And that's it. It's really just that simple. Whereas, yeah. So it's doing this pattern where it slides down, ooh, boo, like this, and then back up, doing an octaves thing, but then it goes to the fourth and the fifth. Where have I seen that before? Oh, just the whole song. Although this is not minor sixth, this is just an octave again, or the root. So there's that variation there between the bass and the actual main progression. But otherwise, these four notes are the song, but with the minor sixth. The kick also has a hat on it. Is this background sound? Sounds like this. So wood, without processing. That sounds like a woodpecker, but when the deco for this map started to come in, I realized it was way more like digital than I thought it was going to be. So I bit crushed it. Yep. There's ambiance in the background. Which is this. I did make this. This is from a different thing that I did. And then we have this guitar. This is like the most realistic guitar I've done. It is finally good guitar. It's based off of sampled guitars, 3 of them, and then it's going through another, like various processing, and then another Ignite Emissary. Yep. This was inspired by Bliss on Mushrooms a little bit, and there's this pluck again, pluck bass. Which I remember, it's called Best Pluck Ever. I loved this pluck back when I made it. And then I lost it because I just didn't have the project file anymore. But when I got FLL plugins, I went back through my old projects and found this. So it's a really kind of dumb pluck, but it works in certain contexts. I'm not sure what you mean by chart things. So then the song starts opening up a little bit more. Get that drum fill again. Bring the snare back in. The snare is interesting because... Okay, shut up. It's from a drum loop. It's not actually a solo snare, which is why it has this hat like built into it. So that hat's just part of the loop, but it sounds good, so. Map things that connect all the effects. I don't know what you mean. There's that woodpecker thing again. Some other stuff in the background. Oh, and this like bass comes back in. So you really only hear the high end of this, but this does have low end too. And the reason I didn't high pass that out, even though I absolutely could have, well, it's a little bit high passed out, is because it's really stereo, and you can hear it over the bass line of, like the main bass line, which is all mono. And I don't really care about headroom too much, because I'm not mastering the heck out of this song, so it's fine. It doesn't matter. Oh, also the bass line changes pattern a little bit. It's basically the same thing, except it gets these every now and then, these little early hits. So it's a little more full. The reason there's no hits on the first bit here is because I'm leaving more space for the drums. There's already a sidechain, but now there's more. But then we have this like half sidechain thing. This variation. And the song goes back and forth between those two. So now we go into this guitar. It's still going. This reverb's still going. But it's disabled here. So, there's a bit of an interesting history behind this part of the song, because originally there was a different melody here, and it was the same instrument as the intro. It was this pluck lead. There was a different melody that was here, and I was kind of fine with it, but Kabob did not like it, Alisticious did not like it, so I needed to replace it, and this is one of the last things I did on this song before finalizing it, was this like guitar melody here. Which you'll notice A is like the main progression of the song, but B is also like wrong. The song's in C sharp, but this should be A sharp. This should be, you know, I think it should be anyway. But that's because I have these hand-drawn slides here. I can't really click on that. I have chat up on my phone. Wait, actually, yeah, I can click on that. Hold on. This drawing. Are you talking about Patcher? Oh, you're talking about Patcher. Yeah. Okay, so, I think this is a Patcher. Nope, it's not. You're talking about, like, this kind of thing. And with his guitar, yeah. So this is, I'm assuming this is what you mean. This is like a container for other plugins. It's called Patcher. It's extraordinarily useful because you can, like, map your own routing. You can basically build your own plugins. It's really cool. So I have these three instruments here, and then all these effects with routing and stuff. So for example, you can hear that because the sidechain. Because I'm on a sidechain point. Hold on. So I can mute these parts. So those are the three components of that, and they add up like that. The Patcher is so cool and so useful, and you can do crazy stuff with it. I'd recommend messing with it. So back to this guitar. This is... So the main thing here, yeah, it's really cool. So this is Dark Star Metal from Essential Guitars. It's a flex. Dark Star Metal is interesting because, well, I'll talk about the square of the circle bit when I get to that, which is later in the song. So I have this hand-drawn animation to kind of make the slides sound more human. The pitch slides. This is just like a semitone, I believe. Semitone down. There's also a gross beat, which is doing... I'm not sure what. I guess phasing. Yeah, just phasing. So, a little trick you can do with gross beat, a little bit of cool thing you can do. Take a gross beat, make this just a flat line so it's not actually doing anything. set the time knob to 50%, so you have a 50% mix, and then automate the time offset, the scratching, by the tiniest amount. This is an exaggeration. It's actually out of like 99%. So automate this like less than half of 1%. And then you get a phasing, like a real phasing, not one done with a phaser. It's cool. It's really subtle in this case because I'm automating the mix level of that too. But you can be more direct with it. What is this? Oh, it's just a Kira slide. Yeah, so this melody right here is one of the last things done. And I struggled to find a good melody for this section. Eventually just like tossed on the main progression, added some slides and called it good, which worked well enough. I'm also using an LFO with a peak controller to do vibrato, which is directly connected to the pitch knob. Yeah, you can see it warbling there. The pitch knob of the flex. So that's probably not the best way of doing vibrato, but it works. I also introduced in this part... Wait, what is this? Oh. Yeah, this is one of the screamers things from the intro here. It's this. It's the same thing. So I'll just bring it back there. Okay, so there's also a couple other things going on in the background here. First, there's this thing. Congratulations, you have found the only chords in the song. And you can barely tell that they're chords. This is a harmer. Doing some weird... So, I'm basically abusing an auditory glitch in unison. I don't really know how this works, but if I change the unison order... Hear how it changes sound? It's weird. But yeah, then it just ARPs up, and I'm bringing up the frequency on that, changing the phase as well of the unison. Cool little sound. Bunch of reverb on it. Just add some high-end stuff, more digital, etc. And then at this point in the album mix, I bring in the speed bass, which is here. Following the same 4-note progression as the rest of the song. This is a harmor as well. Some other instances, I have no idea what this was. This was inspired by a certain bass in a Chime song. It's, yeah, the Talus Battle remix. And I was like, that's kind of the bass line I want in the back of my song. So this speed bass is interesting because it was from the get-go when I talk about the F mods, which I might not have time for, I'll mention it there. But this speed bass the volume of it is linked to how fast you are going in game. There is an Fmod parameter trigger in game that triggers above a certain speed value from Madeline that activates the sound. So if you're going fast in game, there you go. And it's throughout the whole song. In the album mix, it's only sometimes. I think it's like... I don't know when it is. It's like sometimes. I don't remember exactly. But yeah. So I come out of the guitar melody, add these glitches back in, same glitches as the intro. Also add this suspense bubbles sound for ambiance. which is a sample that I like overuse. I've used this in a lot of songs, if you listen carefully. It's like kind of in key. A bit of a riser here. Where is it? This riser. And it cuts out early. Oh, shush. You're not supposed to be here. I'm just gonna assume it's like that. So then we go into like the growls section of the song, where we get this cool sound design. Yeah, wubs is what the mixer slot's called. It's so fun. I love dubstep. This is a Vital sound design I did myself. I'm really not sure what's causing this bit. It just does this. I don't know. I don't know why. But it sounds cool. And it's like maybe in key. Oh, there's also these like longer pluck things. Which is clearly conflicting with the bass down there in the mix, but who cares? I probably should have fixed it, but who cares? Bring the guitar back. No new elements here except for that is the intro pluck. Back from the dead, providing some ambiance, some progression. Oh, there's also this thing, which I really should have mentioned earlier. This layer in the bass. So I thought the bass sounded a little too dry, which sounds cool in the intro, but it needs some more. It needs some more love. So I bring in this. This layer on top of the main bass. This is a cloned version of that bass with some FM and I think also some phase randomization. Yeah, a lot of it. In Citrus, if you take your oscillator and you go down to the oscillator section, you'll see all the harmonics of it and all their phases. And you can manually adjust all this and basically do manual additive synthesis. You can also hit randomize phases to randomize the phases. So that's what I've done. Just to make it more washed out. There's probably also unison on this. There's no unison on this. I was wrong. Some processing. What is it even? Just to wash it out a little bit. Okay. Oh, there's also like a different snare pattern here. Oh yeah, I should have talked about the drums a bit more. So there's this tom fill. Boom, boom, boom. Interesting pattern in terms of timing. This open hat. Where is it? Here it is. And it's slightly... Sometimes it's this long, sometimes it's this long. Just to add a little more variation, you really cannot tell. I think this is a reverse kick, just for smoothness sometimes. Yeah. Oh, this automation here is controlling the amount of that extra pseudo reverb. Alright, that is everything regarding this section, I believe. So then we go into this bridge. The guitar does a little celebration here. Resolves, and we wash out. So let's break it down. Oh, there's also this reverse crash, or this clap thing that comes in sometimes. The thing from the intro, which you can barely hear, these glitches. This. Tone. Which again, I think I mentioned this. Yeah, the scanner's Spitfire Lab sound. Akira stuff again. The sub comes back, following the main progression as before, with some slides. Yep. Bit of an impact, and then we get this thing, which is oh yeah. There's also the guitar pad, which was actually the last thing I did for this song, because I did it several months after the song was finished. So backtrack a little bit here. There's this sound in the background. On my CPU. Just to add some space, I guess. I don't know. The reason pads exist. And it is also a guitar. So, okay, back to the bridge. We have this glitch sound. This sound is really silly. It's resynthesis. It's Mick Gordon. It's something from the Doom soundtrack. Oh. Not entirely sure what. I don't know. It's something. Got a phaser stuff going on. I think. Maybe not. Not sure exactly what's going on in this sound. But it's a bit of a glitchy bass pattern for the background. We also have this, which is the introduction of this lead. Which is used throughout the song from this point on. And then finally, the actually most important... Oh, what is this? Okay, so it's just the woodpecker thing. The wood sound. Oh, yeah, this weird impact. Which is a sample. Boom. Oh, yes. This sound is the core of this section of the song, this like middle bit. It's very interesting. It doesn't sound that good if I play on its own like that. This sound is a meme that I made work. Here's what it sounds like dry. It's really quiet. Does anyone know in chat what plugin this is? What famous meme plugin this is? Nobody's saying anything, so this is a delay llama. Specifically, this is 2 delay llamas. If I click on this, by the way, to show you, there's a decent chance it'll just crash. It did that sometimes I'm working on it, so I'm not going to click on it, but it's there. There are 2 of them because there's this layer that comes in right here. But there's only one main one doing that pattern. And then there's a lot of processing going on to make it sound actually good. A lot of third-party plugins here. We have auto-tune, which is actually doing maybe nothing. Oh yeah, a little bit of format shift occasionally. Or maybe a lot more here. There's a wrong mud, which actually has a chance of crashing as well, which is doing frequency modulation, but in a weird way, in post. Backmask. Let's not look at that one for too long. Another fresh thing, like I mentioned earlier, I'm doing it. This is a different preset. Glitch shifter, frequency echo. All sorts of plugins just screwing with the sound all the time. I've never even used this plugin before. I don't even know. I don't remember this one. But it's here, doing something. Distortion, it looks like. And then EQ and stuff to manage it. And then go through a tape sim. Very complicated thing. Very complicated. But I think it works great for psytrance, like unironically. So I used it. Hats start to come back in. Nope, you can shush. You were not used. I also bring in that bass thing from the intro somewhere. Yeah, here. And yeah, it kind of conflicts with actual bass mixing wise, but who cares? So we get this riser, this build up. A little bit of the woodpecker thing here, the wood sound. That riser again. And then we bring the delay llama back down to be more muted. Pretty normal stuff here. Oh yeah, and then the drum and bass pattern. This is the kick, you can see this one is delayed a bit. Bubbles back. And then here I bring back in the intro pluck to make it make sense in context, I suppose. Bring together. And at this point, what I wanted to do for the song, was take all the elements, bring them all together as loud as possible, and then cut out. So, I apologize, CPU, for this. And then I kill everything with this. Yeah. This is all the normal stuff, all just brought together. And then just bass and kick. Doing a little bit of a different pattern, simplified pattern. Variation on it. What is this? Why is it not playing? A little more syncopated. And then I cut out everything. Except for the kick. Oh hey look, it's the art bird call from Wormfish. Bit of an impact here, same effect I've been using. The kick also gets a phaser on it at this point. You can kind of hear it. Where is it? Yeah, it's just a free phaser. You can see the dry wet come down, which makes it wetter. There we go. Just to add some variation there. No, you are not here yet. Oh, this should be here in the mix. Oh, it is there. Let me just completely kill it. There's also this kind of drop thing, which is just a citrus, I believe. No, it's a vital. A little bit of RM coming down. I believe this is also used, yeah, here. Alright. Then we get into the last section of this song. The, like, where the song really opens up in this last bit. Bassist comes back, and we get this new sound, which I called popcorn. So the pattern there it's following is clearly just the one note, the root, but the timing of it is the pluck lead, the intro melody. There's also a where is it? Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Well, it's also low passed in. So this sound is interesting. I was driving somewhere, and the song Bliss on Mushrooms came on by Infected Mushroom and Bliss, and it had a sound very similar to this, or kind of similar to this, and I was like, ooh, that sounds really cool, I should add it to Jaded. This is before it was called Jaded, it was just Kabob Psytrance. So there's a lot of randomness going on here. The thing that gives a sound its sound is random mapping on the phaser settings, so the offset and the width. So every hit, the phaser is completely random. And then, I think volume's random, no it's not. But the panning is randomized as well. Which is how that works. And then, in this section, it gets doubled down here, and then goes into a bit of a melody. Dun-dun. This melody is the teaser for the actual guitar melody that comes in. It's very similar. So that was a way of like making that not as sudden, the guitar melody. More German bass pattern here again. And then the song really opens up. Let's go. I'm really happy with this section. Alright, let's break it down. So, this melody was originally written for what's the name of the song? The Square the Circle track. I forget what it's called. I should know this. By Circles, ironically. Circles went into the Discord and was like, hey, I use FL Studio, I want a guitar sound for my song. Would you guys recommend any like free ones? So I searched around and I found this one that I thought could work, which is called Dark Star Metal on the Essential Guitars. It's a flex sound. And I was like, I wrote like a test melody to see if it would work. that test melody was this. There are some slight differences between the test one I wrote and... Actually, I can play it, I think. Hold on. Do I have... No, I don't have it. It's somewhere. I could find the file, but it'll take too long, so I'm not going to try. I also played this sound. So I wrote that for that song, and used it as an example. But then later, when I was working on Jaded, I was like, I think this melody would really work. I want to add a guitar. The music request did not have a guitar, but I wanted to add it. So I just did. I think I asked permission. But, yeah. I also played this on... You'll notice like the timings are all like a bit off. I added some slides later and I think some cleaned up some stuff. But I played this on... Oh, that's not right. Whatever. I played that on my keyboard. So yeah, it's a guitar line played on keyboard. There's also this huge reverb on it. Here's what it sounds like without that. So yeah, shout out to Valhalla Supermassive for this. There's some other stuff going on here. There's this vibrato, there's the slides. But yeah, the guitar melody. I'm happy with it. This guitar effect comes back. And also, this happens. The song goes up. The bass line actually has a different progression for once. It goes up to F sharp, which is the 4th, I believe. I would like to be able to hear it, please. Then it does this progression. This progression is also straight up taken from Square the Circle. Because it needed it to work. Oh, there's just like, again, this manual pitch automation. Up a semitone and back down. I added because the bass line goes up pretty high here, I added a separate bass underneath it. Separate sub. Oh, it's so crunchy. I don't even know what this is. Oh, I know what this is. It's this bass. So hold on. It's the shroom bass. Also following that extra progression. Just to reinforce it. Just to bring everything together. Popcorn's doing that as well. So then I loop again, except this time I play the melody with this in here, with the Sun lead, with this the lead that's been like doing this kind of stuff. I now bring it in for the outro. So that gets panned right, and the guitar gets panned left. so they add together to sound like this. And this lead, the synth lead, gets a little bit of a slide here. Just for some extra flair. This is occasionally in here. Drop again. Alright, and that's the song. In-game, it does this. Goes right back into that pluck lead. And maybe I could have smoothed that up a little bit. But in the album, it cuts out. You can see the stuff I did for that there. Yeah. It partially cuts out. There's also this little bit of an interesting sound in the album, but not in game. What is this, I wonder? It's also not this loud in the album. Well, here's, if I open a vector, a spectrum here, a spectrogram, and play it. It's Kabob. I snuck Kabob Celeste into my Kabob Celeste song. Alright. That is everything I wanted to talk about Jaded, I believe. There's some other stuff over here, but I guess I don't know what it is. Nothing important, I guess. Any questions before I move on to Shadowdrop? Anyone want me to, like, look at anything again or whatever? I guess there's probably not going to be anything. Let's go to Shadowdrop. So it's just called Cosmic Brain Remix. Which this song has a complicated history. Sausage. Sausage here. I'm not going to talk about the development of the song too much because I wrote about that in the description of my YouTube video on it, and there's a lot, so I'm just going to leave it for that. There was a lot of, like, drama and stuff, but hey, the song's done, so let's talk about it. This was a collab between me and the Gr90. There's a lot that has to open, of course. No, you are just in time for Shadowdrop. You missed Warm Fish and Jaded. But I just opened Shadowdrop, so welcome. Oops, okay. This song has a lot going on as well, but in a very different way from Warm Fish and Jaded. This one is very complicated in terms of time. Like, it changes a lot, like, per second or whatever, but it's pretty short, and there's really not too many layers going on at once for most of it. Actually, that's not true. This gets complicated. But this song is a headache. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Maybe more in a little bit. Oops, I just moved my entire mixer. Alright, so first thing I want to mention is that every single thing, well, this is the original Cosmic Brain for reference, but everything up here in this category, in this group, is the Gr90's contribution in terms of audio. Everything below that is me. Now, it's easy to look at this and be like, oh, you made most of the song then, Katizer. It's like, well, I didn't do the chord progression. There was a lot of stuff like he and I worked together on, I think also this is his. I don't know why it's down here. It should be up there. I may have just like run out of space. I probably should just added another. Whatever. So he did that. He did the F mod. He did a lot of stuff. I did not do most of this song, I wouldn't say. So let's go piece by piece. So first of all, we have this loud sub drop, which is here, I believe. Also, look at how many mixer slots are used. It literally goes over what I can have on my monitors. Alright. That is a very simple sound. I think it's literally just like a harmonic. Dead simple sound. A little bit of unison, saw wave, phase, randomized effectively, but in a consistent way. Yeah. And the pitch is getting modulated down. For a big old sub drop. And it's also being distorted. Because why not? We have this background thing, which is pretty quiet, just adding a little bit of bass rumble. And then all the stuff going on into this riser. Let's see if I can break this down. So drums. Where are my drums? Yeah, here we go. So main kick, main snare. So they sound like this. The kick and snare choice and processing are really important in, well, I guess any genre, but they're really important in dubstep. This is not a snare I would normally use. It's a lot lower, like the fundamentals lower. It's just a bit weird, but I think it works for this song specifically. Especially since I'm doing a game mix. Then I have this like fill that I chopped up a little bit, or split up, I guess. Crash, which is somewhere. That's not where it is. Where's my crash? This should be easy. Is it just this? Is it really this? Yeah, it is. Okay, it's just called Impact. Okay, so those are the drums. Pretty simple. We have literally a... I don't even know what this is. Oh, this is the chords reverbed and then rendered out and reversed for the intro. Cool. And then as soon as the snare hits, they cut out. There's this little bit of climbing thing, which is where? I think that's this, actually. So what is this? Oh, that is this. Okay. This sound... What's interesting about this little climbing thing right here is this synth was going to be the main synth of the intro. There's going to be like an actual intro, and this is the synth that was going to be used. Ended up being pretty much entirely removed, and I tried to remove this too, and the girl was like, no, put that back. I liked it, so I put it back. Is this a little bit of climb? What is this? Oh. Yeah, some reinforcement of that. What's this? There's so much going on here. Oh, there's 3 risers here. Riser 1. Yeah, that's this. Or one of them, anyway. No, it's okay, that was this. There's so much going on in the background of the song. I can't really talk about it all, because I'm gonna lose track. I think this was inspired by... Yeah, Promise from the Shiro soundtrack. That's not that, it's this. Sorry about all the crunchiness. My CPU really does not like this song. So then we get the drop. Sure. So first we have this chord hit, which actually I'm using the chord sound as a riser right there. I don't know why it's doing that, but... So, the chords of this song were an interesting journey. I don't really know what's going on here. The Gur does, and I just am bad at it. And it took a lot of work to get these to a point where he was happy with. I did not do a good job with that, I'll be perfectly honest. But I can talk about the sound design. So this sound is really interesting because look at how harsh that cutoff is. Like this preset I called Hard Cuts Octafit. It's like this is a preset that I made at some point where I'm like I have this harmonizer going on, which is giving it that really octave like sound. What's the term? What's that? Oh, an organ. It kind of sounds like an organ. That's what it is. But I'm also modulating like the cutoff of the frequency there, or the filter, but as sharp as possible. Zero width. I'm not sure where... Oh yeah, because it's custom shape. So making it wider doesn't do anything. Yeah, filter shape. Kind of funny. So those are the chords. They're really hard cut off, and I'm modulating that here. Sometimes it goes down. And then using it as a riser sometimes. I keep being overwhelmed by this. Like, where do I even begin? There's just so much going on here. I guess it's not actually that much. So, kick and snare, hats. They're still there. Let's just go down the basses in order. So the first thing we have is what I called the violet bass. Here's what it sounds like without processing. This sound was made a long time ago in a different key, different tempo, and I wanted to reuse it because I thought it would sound cool in this song. So I don't have, unfortunately I do not have the original patch, but I do have this, and I processed it a little bit. There's the main bass here. Oh, there's also, yeah, it's really hard to notice this. This song is in, I think it has some key changes in it, but it's in D minor. But what's this D sharp doing here? Well, it's not D sharp, sorry, E flat, apparently. This song, or at least the Cosmic Brain specifically, is in D minor add E flat. So, there you go. There's also this sound here, which is interesting. Buried in the background, on top of the violet bass, just to add, I don't know, some space in the background, or remove some space in the background, I guess. I don't know. I thought it fit. It's from, I guess I just can't hear it because of the sidechain. It's from a, what's that guy's name? I'm sorry, I'm really bad at names. Rob Scallon video, that's what it was. So I just sampled that and used it. So then this is the next bass that gets introduced. Well. This is another bass that I did a long time ago. Yep. It's I think this was a Citrus. Pretty normal sounding, basic sound, dubstep sound. Nothing complicated. Sidechain, please be on. I would like it if you're on. And you hear more parts of this chopped up. And then we get the next bass right here. Oh, by the way, these drums are doing, I don't know what they're doing. Something. I don't overthink it. My AU5 bass is what I call it. This. This sound is really, really stupid. But it works. It's a Vital. And I'm the basic sound here comes from, well, first of all, this, which is, I'm taking the basic shapes wavetable, which is a wavetable with a lot of, well, you know, you use Vital, it's basic shapes. Well, if you have used Vital. And I'm doing a time skew across that. I don't know why there's 4 macros on it, but there are. Which gives it this weird phasey sound. This is where the phasing's coming from, right here. It's weird. Then I have these two, which sound terrible on their own. They're not as loud. They're doing the... giving it some, I guess, extra sound, extra layers. The layers are adding layers. There you go. That's how sound works. So that's that bass. Pretty simple. Not really a whole lot going on in post. I mean, yes, there is in the Vital, but... Well, so instead of being whippy here, it's just straight. The reason this is duplicated like this is really not any good reason. I'm not even going to explain it because it's such a stupid reason that I shouldn't have done in the first place. But we do, at this point, get our first TG sound. So originally this was just this growl. Kind of sounds bad. But then TG added this. Cool. It's one of the growl replacements he sent me. There are a few of them, actually. There's this one, too. I think I did a little extra processing to them, but nothing complicated. Just mixing stuff, basically. And then we get the next chord hit, which is a different chord. Then we go back to the same one. Alright, so that was that section. Then we get this one. This is the one with more of Gur's sound design. Which he doesn't normally do complicated sound design like this. But he did, and it's cool. Where is it? Oh, it's this right here. So he sent me this long sound thing he made, and I was like, I just basically put it in. I did a bunch of processing to it. Let's see. The main thing is getting rid of that low end. That's really important. Unfortunately, I did cut out some of it. I think this was for mixing reasons. I just cut out the parts where you couldn't even hear it anyway, just to make the mix a little cleaner. This... What's going on here? Oh, yeah. Hey, look, that's the melody from the song. From Cosmic Brain. Really tall chords at this point. Here, let me actually play them in context. Or not in context, but with the modulation. There's also this melody that gets enabled, that gets added. This is, not only is this directly from Cosmic Brain, this is literally directly from the Cosmic Brain project file, because Alistacia sent me it, and he uses FL as well. So I literally just copied this and put it in, but on a different instrument, different synth. What's this? Oh yeah, a little bit more of that bass. Where even is it? Here it is. Following the chord progression. Wow, wow, wow. And then I get this little bit of a break. This break's interesting because it seems like an extra measure added, but it's actually not. It's still part of the 4-measure thing. Our structure. This little break is a few things. The main thing here is this. This bass gets filtered using a... How did I do this? I used a divisor. This is like it's simulating a radio, cheap radio, which is basically just a bandpass. That's pretty much all it is. Just to make the actual hit harder. A little bit of a drum beat here. Really quiet. What even is this? Okay, lovely. This riser, which came in here. Sorry, that's a faller at that point. So this is like the melodic dubstep section of this drop, where I have the Tosca bass. Well, I have two of the basses. That bass and the 85 bass. Both playing the melody of the song. Together they sound like this. Nothing complicated, it's just the melody of the song. This is a little more complicated. Get a new drum pattern in here. This is, what is it? This is the, okay, it's the 85 bass, but with the pitch being modulated down. I don't even know what this is. What is this? Oh yeah, this is the form part here. Nice. Hi, Dennis. And then these basses are being pitched all around to stay in key. And now the way I did that was I made them unique and then pitched them around like here and then labeled them with what note they were. I really should not have done this. I should have just used the stretch mode. Stretch Pro didn't exist at the time when I made this. This is Superluminary, yes. This is Shadowdrop. And so it made it more complicated for myself in a bunch of different ways. But now I know. Oh, there's also the Gers part for this bit. Oh, there's also some more Gers parts over here that I just forgot to mention. So he gave me this melody. All sorts of processed and distorted. And then I took the same thing and added this lead under it. Pretty much the same thing, except his has some different notes and stuff. And as well as drop snippets from him, which sound very cool. Process them a little bit differently. Why can't I hear this one? Oh, I had the side disabled. Barely, I forgot about that one entirely. So he just sent me a bunch of these to throw in the drop in various places. So I did. And last, we have this contribution. Part A, reharmonization. Following the chords, obviously. So yeah, so we have basically the same melody as the song, or not really at this point. There's some weird, like, big brain reharmonization chord stuff that he did for this song that I really just do not understand. I'm not even going to try to understand or explain. But the chords here are similar to, but are different from, the chords used actually in Cosmic Brain. And the way the song works in game is that the two songs are synced together. So when you hear, so like each part of the song has corresponding chords between the two songs, but they're not necessarily the same chords. It's weird. All right, now we're on to the bridge. So the bridge section was actually, and this is not really subtle, not a secret. The Gers sections of the song were the majority of his work was in the bridge in terms of the audio that he gave me. The bridges are basically his audio plus my mixing and drums, and that's like, and like some background stuff. So here's the core of the bridge. Yeah, that sound. And I have a little bit of a drum fill. There's also this chopped blur thing. So this is interesting. This is his contribution. I took the entire song, rendered it out, blurred it, which is like a pulse stretch blur, blurs over time, kind of like reverb, but not quite. And then I sent it to him, and he chopped it up, and he processed it in Audacity actually, and then I added it back in. I think I made some slight fixes timing wise, but it's barely there. You can barely tell, but it's a cool little. Cool little like breathy thing in the background. Speaking of blur, we also did this, which I believe was his idea. These hats, quote-unquote hats, that are made from the blur, from the blurred thing that you can see it here actually, that I chopped up with volume modulation to layer with the actual hats. I don't know. I thought it was fun. It's really quiet. I probably should have made it louder. This, speaking of drums, this comes back. It's really mono, old sounding. I intentionally processed this. Like, look at this EQ. I intentionally made this sound really like old and cheap because that's the sound I was actually going for. I was kind of inspired by the Off soundtrack, I believe, like Pepper Steak and whatnot. So we get a sub that comes in. The sub does a weird pattern. I think this might be a key change. Well, it's not, but I don't know. There's some stuff, music theory-wise. There's also this flex lead that comes back in. This lead specifically, by the way. 39, let's see. Oh yeah, Flux Navigator. So it's called Flux Navigator in our Arc Sun Cityscape pack. So it's called Flux, but it's a flex. So that's confusing. I just didn't want to do sound design for this, and so I went with this. And you'll actually notice for a lot of this song, there's a lot of sound design going on, but there also isn't, because I kind of rushed this song. I wanted to get done really quickly, which didn't work, but so I didn't do any of the sound design myself. I just used old sound design that I had done, or stuff like that, like this synth right here, presets. There's this downlifter in the back. Which I reverse and made a riser out of as well. There's this crash, which is super compressed. Like, look at this. Just sausage the heck out of that crash. So, yeah, one guess as to who made the guitar section. So we go into the second bridge thing that he did, which sounds like this. And as well, we have the guitar. Now, it's not a real guitar. It's sampled. I'm not sure exactly how he made this. I did a bunch of processing on it. Nothing really complicated. Or nothing dramatic. I don't know what this was doing. I think I'm widening only the noise. Voiceless Note is a plugin that separates the tonal information from noise information somehow. So I'm splitting those apart here, tone gain and noise gain, and then widening it with wider, infected mushroom, and polyverse. So it's really subtle. And then there's this which comes in later. That's about it. Alright, build up time. Second drop time, let's go. That's the laggiest part of the song by far. So during this build up, I also tease that bass, I tease this bass, and I tease the whip bass as well. That's not subtle. Oh, it's actually pretty subtle. So pretty similar build up to the last one, except longer. And also has... Oh, it has these intro pads as well. So these pads were originally going to use in the intro of the song. We didn't make an intro. We entirely got rid of that. But I reused those as a riser. Just by modulating the pitch up. Drop snippet 4, what's that sound like? Yep, also modulating the pitch up. On its own, how does this sound? Can't even hear it because of sidechain. Whatever, good enough. I think where is drop snippet 4 used? Nowhere else, probably? Nowhere else. Okay, too bad. You won't get to hear it. So the beginning of this drop is really complicated. Nice. It gets like... Gets a bit of harmony in there. Gets that pitch modulation, obviously. And then this pluck stuff happens. Nice. This is also somewhere. Where is this? Oh, this is the plucks. Okay, right, that makes sense. Yep. This is another thing that sounds like it should be a measure on its own, but it is instead a part of the 4-measure group. Music terminology isn't real, it's good enough. The bass also comes up at this point too. This is also a drum and bass pattern for the drums. You can tell by this kick being offset. Because otherwise this would be 4 on the floor. That's not 4 on the floor, you know what I mean. The main bass also goes up quite a bit, an octave, but the sub stays where it was. Yeah, so the other thing is that this main bass stays on a lot. It stays on a lot. In the first drop, it cuts out pretty often. You know, it's there occasionally. But in the second drop, it's just there the whole time. Just to be more drum and bass, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I did a lot of things in this song. Same thing as before, except the variation of it, I believe. Yeah. So we get that, and then... variation, a little quieter. There was something on it at one point, but I disabled it. This from the gray. Yeah, also, I should point out, this... Oh yeah, the drop snippet comes back in. This drum pattern... It sounds a little weird. It's also... Well, no. It's just... This is the really weird one. Don't worry about it. It's kind of silly. I think I changed this one just to sound, because it fit more, but then it felt weird to only have that play once, so I duplicated it, but it sounds terrible here. It does not need to be like that there, so... Oh well. So same stuff as before, and then we had this... The same cutout as before, except with some differences. For one, there's more riser stuff going on. And then on the other version, a little bit of reverse snare crash. Yeah, there's more stuff going on in this one, more layers. These crashes are just going on throughout the whole song. This is the messiest section of the song. It's not mixed very well. It's a mess. I tried my best to clean this up, but it was... I don't know. Once the song was done, I just didn't care anymore. I took the... It seems like I took the Flux Lead thing, melody that I had before, and put it on the bass instead. Anything with this? Same drop transition. Bridge leads. This might be the exact same bridge thing. Yeah, it is. Yeah, also these are triplets if you didn't realize. Oops. Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Manually played. If you watch the 8-bit drummer play the song, he picked that up very quickly. Also, the drum, the snare in the bridges has this like pre-hit sometimes, which honestly just in the full mix comes across as like bad MP3 artifacting, but it was intentional. Just to add some variation. So, same bridge lead lists, but this time a different guitar lead for the bridge. You'll notice something interesting. Or actually not very interesting, very normal. This lead starts at a weird time, but that's okay. Because it's leading into the drop, or it's just what the timing of the melody is. And it's the same timing, right here. So we did that. And then when you go into at this part of the song, this is where the drop started in like this part of the song. But here we go, and in the second bridge, we go into a C part of the song. So the way the song is arranged is drop is A, bridge is B, drop is A, bridge is B again, and we have a C, part C, which is this like extra 16 bars or whatever of the bridge, which was planned from the beginning, sort of. It was planned by the group from the beginning. I kind of failed to understand that for a while. But yeah, so then we have this. And the timing, he gave me this guitar lead, and the timing is exactly the same as the other ones. And I was like, cool, and I put it down, and I put it down like the wrong place, and I sent the file off, and he was like, you good? No, that's not where that goes. So I think I fixed it. I think I had to fix it twice. But anyway, we got there in the end. Drum and bass pattern on the drums. I actually reuse. So there's a sub drop here, which is just the normal sub bass. And I had that in the first bridge as well. But here. Oh wait, no. I thought I reused the intro sub drop, but no, I didn't. Never mind. Okay, so this is interesting. Yeah. What's going on with that? So, in the part C guitar, I did this. I wanted it to have a little bit more stereo width, a little bit more variety in processing. So I added a Valhalla space modulator, and I'm modulating the mix of it right here. I'm also doing it. I'm also processing it a little bit differently. A little more narrow. Yeah. It's really subtle. I don't even think TG knows about this, but here it is. It just comes in from time to time. Yeah, during this low bit, you can really tell that it's not a real guitar. But it's alright. Alright, and that's the end of the song. Yeah. In the album mix, it just cuts off right here. And you'll notice that reverb there, in the album mix, it kind of fades down. Here it doesn't, because I did that in post later. I think I did it in Reaper, actually. Not FL. But in the in-game render, this is the whole first drop again. So that's why this is here, for the in-game render. Yeah. And there's some extra stuff in this project file. But it was ended up unused, so we're not going to look at it. Yeah, that was Shadowdrop. I have decided that, because I was considering it after the stream, I was going to break down these songs, and then I was going to look at the project files in Fmod. I was also going to look at the sound effects that I did for SJ. However, I've been live for 3 hours, and I'm very tired. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed this project breakdown. Thanks for watching, if you watched, which I guess you did if you're at the end of it. Bye.